Welcome back, You Gon' Film It podcast. This is a special session. This is Community Talk. And today I have two guests from the community. I'm going to go ahead and let them introduce themselves, starting with Ms. Kelly.
Hi, my name is Deidre Pierce Kelly.
Hi, I'm Edward L. Bluen Jr.
Thank you. And how y'all doing today?
Fine, thank you.
I'm doing pretty good, thank you. And yourself?
I'm doing well. I'm a little tired, but I'm here. Great conversation today. I like to talk about the community. And we're going to start with Ms. Kelly. Can you give us what you do?
So, I am a practicing attorney here in the city of New Orleans. My primary practice is criminal defense with a minor in personal injury cases. For the previous 11 years, I was a legislative assistant to Senator Wesley Bishop. I was his assistant as a state representative as well as the Senate. And now I have devoted all of my time to the practice of law in criminal court. Oh, and also I'm a member of OPDEC, so I give back to my community things.
Thank you. We appreciate that, Mr. Bluen.
I'm the president of Village Celeste Improvement Association. I'm a charter member of Joe Brown, Friends of Joe Brown Park. I'm a charter member of Community Legion. I'm the president of my American Legion Post 509 in Ames, Louisiana. So I'm very active in the community.
So, I have y'all two here today. Can you start with Ms. Kelly? Can you give the community insight on why it's important to vote, especially for these judges in these local elections?
I think it's important to vote because it's one of the ways of exercising your rights. Oftentimes you hear us complain about what laws are taking effect, how does it affect us, what consequences it may have. But the reality of it is we don't go to the polls and vote. Voting is a part of the process, and I think that in order for us to make change, we need to be a part of the process so that we can create laws that affect us as opposed to allowing someone else to create laws that affect us.
And what's your take, Mr. Bluen?
Well, it's important to elect the best candidates for the different jobs, judicial systems. The decision not only impact the defendants and the issue, but it also affect the community as a whole. The judge's decision affect case law, which means that if a number of them render decisions in a certain direction, those decisions might be upheld in appeals, and it affect the whole community. A liberal leading judge might give leeway to the defendants, and a law and order judge may not. But a fair judge would have due process and better serve the community as a whole.
Understood. What, to me, with the judges always on the ballot, it's kind of hard because it seems like the judges in New Orleans is one of the most important things, but it just seems like they don't generate the campaign funds. So it's kind of hard to get the message out because, I mean, honestly, sometimes you don't know a certain person is running for judge until maybe the week before the election. And what's so great about this election is actually the presidential election. So it's like everybody's going to vote. You know, tend to what we had, I think it was a month ago, we voted for something and I went and voted and I was like number 25 and I went and voted at like 6 o'clock in the evening. So, you know, this one makes it special because it's a presidential election, but we tend not to know who's running, you know, what they're running about, what changes they want to implement. And honestly, we really don't know about the law. We don't understand that we can write in and, you know, advocate for change or change the law. It's kind of, you know, it's kind of funny.
As the president of my neighborhood association, I have been put in a position that my residents call me and ask who to vote for. So now that we have so many judgeships available, I really have to do my research and to advise what I think is the right course for us as a community to vote.
And that's why I have a problem. Because I feel like we call around and say, who should we vote for? I think we should do the homework ourselves, right? Because just because Mr. Bluen may feel candidate A is the best candidate, I may have experienced something different in my life than Mr. Bluen, so I may believe that that's not the right candidate. So I think that we have to stop being lazy and do the homework. Go to some of these forums, watch, well, right now we're in the virtual season, so you have to watch it. But, prior to coronavirus, we were able to go to the forums to listen to the candidates talk about their history and what they did and what changes they made. So we have to go. We go to any event that's around the city, whether it's the second line, we stand in long lines. I saw when Chinese Kitchen opened, they had a line down to probably Earhart. So the same way we take that energy to stand in line for food is the same way we need to go and listen to these candidates speak and ask them the important questions. What have you done for the community? What did you do in your career? What changes have you made? Have you ever even practiced in this particular arena that you're running for? We have to do the work as opposed to relying on me. Because I told my mom in the last race that you said, who I'm supposed to vote for. Go do your homework. And then if you come back and ask me, well, this is what I found, then maybe I'll give you an input, well, this is what I think. But you do the homework first and you let me know that you're serious as opposed to, well, who do you think? And that's why we keep getting the same thing we getting out of the system and we're mad. Do the homework.
I'm actually in agreement with you. You misunderstood me. I'm going to do since I have the responsibility, because most people don't do their homework. I'm going to research and tell them the options and tell them what I found out and how did I find out, and also direct them how they can find out.
It wasn't a low blow to you, Mr. Bluen. I'm talking about the people who want to call and ask, who should we vote for?
Well, first thing, I love Chinese Kitchen. Sweet and sour chicken with the egg.
I do too.
But I understand what you're saying. The thing I see and the problem I have with Orleans Parish voters, especially New Orleans East voters, we vote off of popularity. So, meaning, this person showed up to the barbecue, or this person went to the concert, I'm voting for them, and they get in office and it's injustice. And just like you said with the judgeship, we should know who's running for judge and what they're going to do, because if you haven't practiced law, how can you uphold the law? I mean, if you was only practicing law for 2 years, why should I elect you as a judge? What's your conviction rate? What's your help rate? Because it's not always about convicting. It's about upholding the law, doing the right thing, and trying to rehabilitate people. But we miss that. But it all goes back, I think, to campaign funding. And like you said, we should do our own research, which is true. But a lot of candidates not putting information out for you to do research.
So that means we can't vote for them if we don't know about it.
Exactly.
That might be purposely information left from.
Exactly. Because they might be running off of popularity and not.
And this is why the forum that we're going to hold is very important, so to get the message out to the public.
Yeah, so the forum is important. We just hope that we can get viewership off it. I mean, if we could spend 2 hours on Instagram and social media a day, give us 30 minutes.
Well, I personally going to get out the news to my community, and I have like 12,000 people in my community, and I'm actually going to get out the word to them.
And you see, but that's right. So since we cover the judge, what do you feel about the district attorney? Right now we have Leo Canizero sitting in the seat. I think he's been in the seat 8 years. 12, yeah. That's 3 terms, and that's.
It's 6 years.
It's 6 years. So he preceded Eddie Jordan, and Eddie Jordan preceded Mr. Foley. So they got, and right now we have, off my head, I think I know 5 candidates: Hunter, Landrum, Morale. Arthur Morale is not running.
So we have 4 candidates. You got Arthur Hunter, Jason Williams, Kiva, Landrum Johnson, and Morris Reeves.
Morris Reeves, senior.
Right, senior, sorry. Yes.
Now, you can take that and be like, okay, for me, I know Morris Reed Sr. from when I was a kid, you know, he was a political figure. I know Jason Williams because he represented a rapper. And I know he's the city councilman at large. And I also knew, you know, the bad news that came up on him a few months ago, which is not right. And I only seen Kiva signs. I don't know anything about a person.
So she's a judge. Well, she was a judge. She retired from the bench. I think she sat 2 terms as well. She was the interim DA who took over when Eddie Jordan stepped down. So I think she was interim DA for about 18 months. Then she ran for judgeship as opposed to running for the DA's office. So she's been on the bench for 12 years. So I guess if you had to go into the courtroom, you probably came across her. What about Arthur Hunter?
I hear a lot of good things about Arthur, and I actually went and researched some things. Arthur Hunter is
You
really...
did your homework.
I'm a big reader, so you know, Arthur Hunter though, he, from what I get from him, and this is by any means you're gonna film a podcast does not endorse any candidates, you know, it's just my opinion. He did some real good things with rehabilitating people. I mean, he wasn't, I don't see him, you know, life sentence for petty crime,
Right.
you know. But he did some nice things. I did some research on Jason too. But me personally, I like Jason better at the city council seat instead of the DA, but you know, to each his own. What do you think, sir?
Well, I know Jason personally too, and I have a problem with that, with his problems. So, and going through our council people in the East, lately our leaderships, we had problems with them. So it's like, it's important that we can vote someone in that we have confidence that they're going to actually be there once we vote them in office.
Mr. Blunt, you know Miss Kelly. Say you know and your kid gets in trouble or whatever. You call her and she like, you know, don't worry about it, I'll take care of it. I don't want a DA like that. I want a DA that's gonna be fair, no matter what, no matter the religion, the race, the creed, the sexual orientation. Just be fair. And hear the cases out, review the cases, and do the right thing.
We know with the current DA, we know what we're getting, right? Tough on crime. But it's not always about tough on crime. It's about how does this crime start? You take a juvenile. I think right now juveniles are doing the most killing in the city than anything, right? So what do we do for them? We need to implement programs. We need more after school programs. So when they get out of school, what you doing? You get out at 3:15 up until the next day you go to school. That's too much time. You know, what happens to these North programs where you can go and do some basketball, after school learning? I know when I was in school, I did talent search. So my mom kept me busy from school. We went to talent search on the weekday. On the weekend, I was at Upward Bound. I don't even know if Upward Bound still exists. Right. So we need some programs. So we need people in office that really wants to create change and that don't want a job, right? So you talking about I'm running for judge, I'm running for DA. Well, are you really going to be there long enough to really make change? You know, if you've been doing this in the community as whatever your role is and you couldn't create change then, well, how you going to create it now? Have you tried to implement it? Did you try to go to whoever those elected officials are right now in office and say, look, I think you should do this, this, and this, or I think this is going to make the community better? So I don't know. I just think we need to create change, make change. The time is now.
I would like to say something. Since I'm of a different generation, I think we should also put some emphasis on the parents' responsibility for their youth, and we should charge society with understanding due process. We should all try to work together. We shouldn't all depend on programs. We should depend on families and community also.
And that's easy to say, but when you have young kids having kids, right? It takes a village. But that young kid who's having that young kid, I watch it too often than not. I started my practice in juvenile court. And so representing the juveniles, the parent is telling me what happened. well, you wasn't on the scene. Let me talk to X, right? Because X obviously did whatever X did. Well, you can't talk to my kid. Well, how can I fully represent your kid when you wasn't at the crime? So you have nowadays with the younger generation not being able or don't want someone to tell their child what to do. When I was growing up, if the neighbor across the street said I did something, my mama didn't want to hear what I said. He said you did it, and you're gonna get in trouble, because it's like, are you being disrespectful? So I don't know how we get the younger generation to understand it does take a village. So I do agree with that, but it's just it's scary. You know, they had a young guy that was walking past my door the other morning, and I think his pants was hanging. I don't know, he was cursing. And I was skeptical about telling him something, because if he tell his mom and he come back, that's gonna go somewhat different. But I just took the chance, right? And so I told him, and it went in a positive way, right? But it could have went a different way. So I don't know how we do it. And when I say programs, it could be a program that teach that younger parent how to raise your kid, or how do you interact, or how do you lean on the community. And it's not that the community is against you when we say maybe you should do this or you doing this wrong. So I don't know.
But I mean, you speak about programs, but that goes beyond the judges and the DA. I mean, that starts with the city leaders, your local leaders, your district leaders. I mean, like you said, what happened up above? Where it went?